you guys like flames?
Poor life decisions.
Poor life decisions. Well, financial burdens? This is what this truck is all about. We are making a burnout truck and we have 3 days to get this thing running and shooting flames and doing burnouts sufficiently.
Probably not going to run. Might not do a burnout. Will probably blow up.
Let's get onto it. So let's recap last episode. We got our fire extinguisher, we chopped it up, and then we put twin turbos on a V6 Triton. But now what we need to do is modify the sump. So that's what we're doing by jacking the car up and getting underneath there. Now, what Ben is trying to do is reuse his oil. And I highly recommend you don't do that once you put oil into an engine. Ben, how do you think this is going to go for you?
Not well, but I'm okay with it because this motor's great.
6G72.
What are you doing?
Sleep vlog.
Drop the oil, Ben.
Yeah.
There goes the power steering arm.
Oh, yeah.
As you can hear, there's much pain in Ben's voice. That's because this took 2 hours and Ben had to be on his back the whole time. Woo. So we got the sump out. Thank you, Ben. He's got this nice and clean for me so I can drill it and weld it. But what we did find is this is a 6G72, which is a 3 litre, and this is a 6G75 one, and they are not interchangeable, which is weird because Mitsubishi usually make things interchangeable, but the sumps do not fit each other. So, because Ben's changing this to a bigger engine, we are going to have to mod this one for now to get the car running, and then mod this one for later when he gets the bigger engine. So, yeah, such is life. Let's get onto it. Now, when you're putting return lines back into your sump, you want to make sure that you are above the oil line, but not too high so you don't create air bubbles when the oil is returning. Another thing I like to do is clean up as much as you can because this is cast aluminium, and if it's not perfectly clean, it is going to give you some issues. Also, give it a good scratch back and try to get back to nice clean aluminium. So Ben's underneath the car, figuring out the oil feed. I should actually explain why you need one and why you need an oil return. Well, pretty much as simple as this. Oil goes to the turbo, lubricates the internal shaft, and then comes out and goes back into the engine. Now, of course, Ben being Ben, he's gone cheap, and the kit that he's bought doesn't actually fit. So we need to modify these things so they actually work for him. Now, I should explain why I'm drilling Ben's brand new fittings. It's because Ben is cheap. This is the kit that Ben brought, and there's nothing wrong with that, except that it does not have the correct fittings for his turbo. So we gotta make them work. How to fix a blunt drill bit? Push really hard.
Yeah, like you said, you melt metal and it just falls through.
As you can see, I've drilled out both ends of this fitting, so it bolts onto the turbo. But what I'm also doing is I'm getting the gasket and I'm using this tool to bevel it out so it has a nice transition into that fitting. And the reason for doing this is we don't want any buildup of oil inside the actual turbo housing because it's going to push through the seals and you're going to end up burning oil. This next bit made Ben very happy. I was able to use both fittings and the hose for the oil return. All I recommend when you're putting these things together, use a vise, but put some aluminium in there so you don't scratch up your fittings. And also try and use the correct tools. So Ben, let's have a little bit of an update, mate. What are you doing down there?
Well, as it stands, we are needing to get a source for oil for the turbos. So I'm using this oil pressure switch, taking it out and building a little block manifold like that. And yeah, hook the oil feed up to the turbos.
Now this is not going to be its final form. We are going to put a sandwich plate in there because I think it's going to be a bit better and it's going to tie in a lot better.
Yeah.
But look, we don't have one, so we're just doing what we can with the eBay stuff that Ben got. Now Ben always says that he does his best work on his back. We're going to come back to him in a second to see if that's true. Anyway, we have to get this turbo facing a little bit better. I wasn't happy with how it was sitting, so I've cut it off and I'm redoing it. I then end up welding up that manifold and spraying it in some ceramic coating while the metal is still hot. When that's dry, we then get Ben to put these turbo manifolds back on the Triton. So as you can see, it's another day and Ben's underneath the car complaining. Why, Ben?
Get the turbo on and everything again, like we said last night? No. So went straight into chopping it without even putting everything together.
Yep. It's not right.
Still think you should have just measured it with everything together first before cutting it?
Oh, the turbo, well done.
10 minutes.
Yeah,
mate.
but without gaskets and everything.
No.
Without the bolts. There's only one, like 2 nuts holding on. And he's like, oh, it's 7 mil out, I'm recutting it. I'm like, why wouldn't you put it all together first, then measure it, then cut it?
And he's not happy. But look, we've gotten pretty far. We've got the turbo mounted up on this side. We've got the oil and feed done. Ben has done some weird thing to the fuel system here.
It works.
We don't even know if it works.
No, it will.
And I'm currently playing around with the wiring just to clean up a little bit. And we also have chopped this off again because I was not happy with how it was sitting.
Yep.
Ben was happy, I wasn't happy. So to try and get these turbos the same, I'm using these 2 bars, a tape measure and a pen, and I'm trying to work it out. I have to say this is actually quite difficult, and if I was going to do it again, I would completely do it in a different way, but this does work, and I'm happy to say we get it very close. In the meantime, Ben is working on his fire extinguisher manifold, putting some lines in for his brake booster, his boost gauge, and his fuel pressure regulator. And he's doing that by drilling a hole, tapping an NPT thread in, and then putting in some brass fittings.
Do you know what I do need to buy? A heap of condoms. For all those coolant. Shut up, I meant for the coolant one. Rubber caps, sorry, I'll be technical.
After those words of wisdom, you could feel that things were getting a little bit weird around the shop. So to help Ben with his frustrations, I gave him the biggest piece of metal I could and told him to put his nuts on it. All I see on the camera is Ben's beautiful bald head. And it reflecting off the light.
Do you want me to just stroke it like this? Just,
No, I don't want you to do that.
Like it's not YouTube appropriate?
No, I don't think it's ever appropriate. Anyway, back to cars. So after we did that, we got the turbo, we slapped it on, and then I checked everything to see if we were going to be in business.
What?
Perfect.
Really?
Within a mil. Within a mil. Right, we did it!
Finally.
I did it.
You did it.
I did it. You have had it.
Like,
You have had it. Bloody.
yeah, it's almost like too long now, but it's fine.
A fitting on a fitting on a fitting on a hole. A fitting on a fitting on a fitting on a fitting on a fitting that's connected to a hose that goes to a fitting.
Yeah.
Goes to a fitting. Goes to another fitting. That goes to a fitting that is the wrong thread into the turbo.
Yes, correct.
Fun.
we do goods.
Now, for anyone watching this thinking, wow, this is jank, don't worry, I will fix up Ben's thing. But, we're just trying to get it done before New Year's Day or during New Year's Day. See how we go. But yeah, it will be fixed. Now, this is something new for me. Making O-rings. So, check this out. You get a bunch of little O-rings, you cut them, you glue them together to make a big O-ring. Now, you need to do this on this type of throttle body because the actual flange design isn't thick enough to get a proper seal with a paper seal. So that's what I'm doing. We're gonna glue these all together, go over to the car, glue the O-ring to the actual manifold, and then slap it together. Like a glove. So twin turbos, they're done. Looking great.
I'm glad. Finally on.
On. Now we got 2 turbos, we got 1 manifold, we got no intercooler.
No.
Gooch.
Gooch time.
Ah yes, Ben's Gooch. Let's talk about that. We've been making this thing since day 1. So this is made using a 180 degree bend that we've cut in half and then put these angles in it and then join them together. The reason why we've done this is because we've got a radiator cap that we have to get around, a radiator fan, and also a radiator hose. Plus we have to connect up both of these turbos. Now, Ben isn't running an intercooler because he is going methanol, and the hope is by doing this, he won't have to run any extra cooling.
Resistance, what are you doing?
Comedy relief.
Comedy relief. Well, if people aren't pissing themselves laughing at these videos that we're making anyway, did you see the last episode? If you haven't, like, subscribe, go watch.
Oh, I like that. That was smooth. And we're back into it. I'm trying to get the gooch done while Ben is working on the ignition system. I'll be lying if I said we weren't slightly exhausted at this point, as we shut shop at about 3 in the morning. But with less than 16 hours left till midnight, we don't have time to stop. Cue the music, let's get into it. We're getting really close to the end now, and you can see that we're trying to smash everything we can and get everything working. But unfortunately, time's running out, as I said, so we're gonna have to do some things to get by. One of the things that Ben really wanted to do was a one-piece gooch, so I'm trying my hardest to make it as easy as possible to get this thing in and out without too much trouble. And even though it's New Year's Eve, the spirit of the TRITON has drawn people in to give us a hand to get it running. It amazes me when you got a car project like this, how it brings people together, come around, have some laughs, and getting stuff done.
Oh, cool.
First startup, Ben. First startup. What do you reckon? Is it going to start?
I reckon if it does, it won't run for very long.
Oh, wow. What a prediction.
If it does, I don't think it's going to run. But I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, and I think it's going to smoke out the shed.
It definitely will. Those stem seals are non-existent, so I know that this will be a smoke machine.
No, okay, this is going to be fun. So, pretty much, we've had to block some holes in here. We've jerry-rigged nearly everything up.
Zip-tied the throttle body.
The zip-tied the throttle body is awesome. It's just cracked. So, we've got a fresh battery.
Yep. Fresh battery, bled the fuel.
Yep.
Checked everything over. A few things leak. It's fine. Let's send it.
Let's do it. Okay, cool. Go.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Is it out of fuel? I've got nothing on the gauge. I might be out of fuel.
Shush.
It might be out of fuel.
What?
It might be out of fuel.
You reckon?
Might be.
How much pressure we got on the pressure gauge? Shall I start it? Nope, you got fuel.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Alright, go. Instead of like, just go start it 4 times and stop.
Okay.
Yep.
Ready?
Yep. Ooh. Go again. Go again.
It wants to run.
I know. Go now. Alright, let's get some start, you bastards.
Yep.
And let's also crack this down again.
The plug would probably failed over by now.
Oh no, it was black. The smoke that came out of your end.
Yeah, no, you say the black part?
Yeah. I was like, the plugs might be,
Go on.
yeah. I don't think I pulled them. Yeah, I don't think I pulled the plug, so I don't even know if they're clean, dirty, oil.
Try again with the throttle body closed.
Ready?
Yep. Sorry, go on. Try again.
Yeah!
Hey!
That's it?
How many hours to midnight?
Oh, well, it's probably about 2 o'clock, I think.
Yeah, it's 18 past 2, so it runs, so you're under
Running before midnight.
9 hours and
Yeah, running before 9 hours.
9 hours and 42 minutes to go.
Man, we did it. It actually got some RPM. The most jury-rigged thing you've seen on the internet this year.
If only people knew, I'm just so ready for bed. Like, can I please sleep?
We can sleep. We can push this thing out. Get a great thumbnail. and then we'll go to bed and sleep. Hey guys, guess what? Like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Part 3, clean it up,
Yep.
get it idling.
And yes, that would be fantastic, guys. And thank you for everyone's support. And guys, they're here. Liam,
thanks,
Dono,
Liam.
thank you for coming around.
Yeah.
Gaffney for lending us some tools.
Yeah.
You guys are friggin' champions.
Wicked.
Wicked. Wow, is that fuel like running out of your Anyway,
Yep. Ignore that leak. It's fine.
we'll leave it like that. No worries, man.
Till
Catch you
next time.
guys. Bye.
See ya.
Yeah, brother. Hold for on.